Getting Ready for Turkey 2025, William Hovey Smith. This is Hovey Smith, the Backyard Sportsman. And we are through fixing to get ready to go turkey hunting. And we are now getting ready to go turkey hunting, which I will do this very day. It is approximately 1 o'clock in the morning. And I am gathering my implements of the hunt. Usually in my routine for getting ready for turkey hunting, I'll be watching some videos. And among my favorites are the All Stars of Spring series, which is on tape here, if you have a tape player, or on DVD here, if you still have one of those. Well, Realtree has discontinued these, which is something of a shame, but they still do turkey hunts, and these they post now on YouTube as being a much more effective way to reach a larger audience with their advertising. And yes, they take advertising in their videos. When this started, way back, more than 20 years ago, it was just Bill Jordan and David Blanton. And they started to form an association which has lasted until now, really. Both are still active in the Realtree company. They had other turkey callers join them. Very often these were winners of contests. Well, I've seen those, and I've seen them many times. So I pretty well know what's going on there. I also have, 30 years of turkey hunting experience in various places under my own belt. And I run into a lot of turkey hunting situations, like the one I'm going to be doing this very day. Today, I'm going to be setting up on a road. I've seen turkey tracks on that road. He's a Big Tom. Yeah, Big Tom tracks. And I've seen him there several times. So yes, he's working that road. When? Well, in modern times, one would put a camera on it and find out. Well, I don't do that. But I do know from past experiences that from about daylight to 10 o'clock, the turkeys are dealing with the hens, and they aren't doing very much so far as getting out on this road is concerned. When they come out on the road, it's between 10 o'clock and about 2 o'clock into the afternoon. So that's when I want to be very sure to be there. Now, we have had this experience personally before. Not on this property, but with Young Blunderbuss here. Me and a hunting buddy that I've hunted with for years and years, he invited me to go out on a property where he had permission to hunt. And we left before daylight, and we got there and we set up in the dark as customary. And so I set up in the back to a pine tree. And there was a road out front, and he said, yeah, they sometimes walk this road, so I'll put some decoys out here and I'll go somewhere else, so not as to interfere with you. This is a big enough property that we don't have to sit side by side. So I stayed, and we called, and sure enough, we heard turkeys. But none came by me, and he came back about noonish and said, well, he had heard turkeys too and tried to call but hadn't managed to get any to him. So he was going to relocate and ask if I wanted to relocate. And I said, well, I don't really think so. If turkeys are using this road, I believe they still will. So I stayed put. So we had our lunch and our social interchange, and he left and I remained. Well, every once in a while I'd call, nothing happened. They wouldn't gobble, they wouldn't do anything. But lo and behold, I was about half asleep, and I looked over to my right, and here came two turkeys, two tops, two longbeards. Tromp, 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 coming right straight down the road, right towards me. Well, I'm invited on a hunt to a property, and the two birds' heads were almost aligned. Yes, with blunderbuss at close range, I could have taken them both. But I didn't want to do that. So we waited until they got as close as they were going to come and abreast of me and separated enough so I felt even with blunderbuss, I could get a clear shot at one bird alone and not hit the other bird. And so I cocked, waited. Now, considering sighting in a blunderbuss, this bell is a problem. So, consequently, I had raised the comb here so I could look over the top of the bell, and with the load I was using, which was an ounce of shot, I would have a good probability of making a decent pattern at my point of aim, so to speak. So we carefully lined up his head, and we pulled the trigger. The gun went blew black smoke and all. And when the smoke drifted away, the bird was flopping on the ground, and the other one had left. Well, I'd been sitting for so long, my feet and legs had gone absolutely dead on me. So I got up and sort of staggered over to the bird. And yeah, he was down there. And I stepped on the poor thing's tail and pulled some of his tail feathers out. Well, I killed him. I cracked his spine, cracked his neck with my gun butt. And so we had our turkey with Young Blunderbuss. Now, Young Blunderbuss has had many other adventures too, and if you go to the Hovey Smith channel, you'll see a playlist of quite a few of them, including how I built and modified and tested the gun and so on. You'll get all those details. But this is not the gun I will use. The lesson from here is, yeah, the Toms are busy doing a social thing early in the morning, so if they go on a road walk, chances are they're going to do it sometimes toward midday. But most of the hunters are now exhausted and given up and actually come out of the woods. Problem is, I'm not the only one who uses this road. There's another property, and they may be turkey hunting there today, and they may run up and down the road. So we just will have to deal with that today, particularly on opening day. I would expect to have somebody over there. Don't know who, but yeah, I would expect somebody to be hunting that property. So we will go down and get started. What we've already done is I've started some clothes washing. I washed them last night earlier. I put them in the dryer more recently, and now they're dried, and we'll select our clothes we're actually going to wear. It's chilly in the morning, but it was 80 degrees when I was cutting grass yesterday. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one. Starting this early in the morning, I'm going to need some energy. And I had kippered herring and olives and crackers last night for supper. So we now have a bowl of steel cut oatmeal here, which has in it raisins as well as walnuts and strawberries, fresh strawberries. So we're going to eat this to give us some energy. Now, this also helps in the biological function department. We're also going to do a savory pumpkin pie. And besides the usual canned pumpkin, sweetened condensed milk, and spices, we're going to add sausage, which I've already cooked, as well as some very finely chopped cheese. Now, this basically makes this pumpkin pie into a one-slice meal. And that's my intention. But this is a little treat I do in hunting season. And yeah, it's very nice to come home when you're hot and I have to let the dogs out, and it's something I can just take out of the refrigerator, slice, and have a cup of coffee and eat, and is very nutritious and filling. I have diced the sausage and the cheese together, and this will help prevent the cheese from sticking and forming, just larger masses. Now, one problem is if I'm going to add stuff to this mix, this recipe, without anything added, would completely fill this dish and perhaps overfill it. So, we're going to have to prepare another container for cooking some of this material. It won't have a crust, but it will be cooked. We're ready to start assembly now. We have our can of pumpkin. We're going to add our ingredients here, the sausage and cheese. Now, in a standard recipe, what you would add at this stage would be a cup of sugar. Well, I'm a diabetic, so I can't take much in the way of sugar. But let's see what it tastes like now. Yeah, it could definitely need sweet. Now, it's going to get some sweet with this condensed milk. So, add that. Now, this recipe calls for 2 eggs, and for safety's sake, you want to do all your tasting before you add the eggs. Okay, we have some cloves, we have ground cloves. Okay. We have cinnamon. And we will add nutmeg as well. No nutmeg or mace could be found, so we went with cumin and ginger, and we wound up with a spicy mix. And so now eggs. Okay. So we did not have near as much as I thought we would left over. Okay, that's a good try. Okay, that goes in the oven. We have our pumpkin pie done. It cooked perhaps 15 minutes too long, but that's okay. And we can put it in the refrigerator and let it get good and cold. Let's cover, just reverse it. Put it in a couple of places. I'll hold that on. And so now we're good. This is of course our little excess mix. And so let's see how it did. Well, it is cooked. Good. It's sweet enough without any added sugar at all. Other than that was in the condensed milk. That's made it plenty sweet. And I can taste the sausage. And I can taste the cheese. Yep. Now this cooked in about 20 minutes compared to an hour for the pie. Behind me I've got a sink full of dirty dishes to wash. And why is this significant for turkey hunting? If I get a bird this morning, I'm going to need that sink empty so I can clean it and put it in the freezer today. Turkeys pluck much easier if they are still warm with body heat. The usual thing is a guy gets a turkey and he hauls it around for several hours and it gets cold, and then it gets very difficult to pluck indeed. But if you pluck it after it's been freshly killed and still warm, yeah, the feathers come out much easier. So we're going to wash some dishes and then get out our clothes and get dressed and post this video and then finally go hunting. Like all of us, I work, and right now I'm working on my business book, using AI to make your own job anytime, anywhere, at any age, which is vitally needed at the present time. What this book does, it tells you how to come up and derive an original job idea, and then goes step by step on how to start your own business in the United States. With the confusion in the federal government, with tens of thousands of people threatened and are being dismissed from their jobs, which they thought were lifetime, yeah, now this book is vitally needed, and I'm trying to push it out as fast as we can. And it should be available in perhaps a month. But this is the last stage of working on it before it actually gets released. I actually sent in the corrections for the index. which is absolutely the last thing the author does with his book before he gets the final book in hand, complete, ready to look over, before it goes to the printer and gets out to you. We have our dishes washed now, and we have the clothes laid out clean that I'm going to wear. Now, one reason I wash these clothes is an underappreciated aspect of turkeys is that turkeys smell very well. That is, yes, they can detect odors, and easily. So, like in deer hunting, you don't want to go out with smelly clothes, so hence they have been washed. Now we will be wearing mostly old stuff. Matter of fact, almost all of it old. This shirt, for example, was handed to me by Bill Jordan. It was actually made in Georgia as part of a Flint Ridge company and collection of outdoor clothing. Company that I don't know if it still exists or not. And incidentally, if you happen to have your grandpa's old hunting stuff and it doesn't fit you or anyone you know, that material has value if it's still wearable. People will pay a premium price in used clothing stores for these old pieces of camo clothing. So don't throw them away just because you can't use them. You can sell them. All right? Now, what's new? These are new. For years and years I wore boxer shorts like this. But at 84 years old, adverse things start to happen. Well, like an old house, I have leaks in the plumbing. Not too bad yet. But I can see the day that I'm going to have to wear a pad. Hence, these. Now these are medium, which I think will fit me, because I've shrunken in size. But we shall see, and see how they do. We're going to take them out for a test run today. So, we're going to get dressed and try to get out there. We are running late. I hope to be out there by 10 o'clock, set up. It's now more like 9:30. I want to post this video before I go, so obviously I'm going to be late. That is not at all an unusual condition for a first turkey hunt. On these first hunts, gate keys get left behind, all kinds of strange things happen. So, yeah, your first hunt will probably start off later than you anticipate. Well, how do these briefs look and feel? Well, they feel comfortable. Yeah, I can move the legs all right, and they don't bind. Oh, yeah, I think these will work. Before going out in the field, I need to clean and dress my gun. This is a Sauer&Sohn drilling, and I have an entire playlist of 10 or more YouTubes about various aspects of this drilling. Significant right now, it's 16 gauge. I shot it a couple of times when I patterned it, so now I'm going to clean it and put a camo sack on it, as well as attach a caul. A convenient thing about drillings is how easily they disassemble. And there you have the barrels, all three of them. I've used Hoppy's number 9 here and got out some pretty black patches. Then when those were clean, I used Remington Action Cleaner here, and that took out the organics, and then followed up with rim oil. When the oil patches went down the bore, they came out white. So yeah, we've got a clean bore. I've also wiped off the action and wiped off the exterior of the barrels. This is a precision fit gun, and tolerances are the thousandths of an inch. And it takes a little finagling sometimes to get that knuckle in the right place on its pivot, but once done, bang, it's like a bank vault. All right, we reattach the forend, clunk, and there we are. Now we're ready to put the clothes on it. And this is the sleeve that it has worn before, and so this gets slipped over the entire gun, and we'll do that and be back with you. We now have the gun dressed in its camo sleeve. And to open, we have the rear of the barrels exposed, so we can load or unload very easily. We have both triggers exposed, so we can work those. And we can give that very close range enticing call when we see the gobbler walking down the road. Woof, woof. Next step, get all this stuff in my golf cart. We now have everything in the golf cart, and we are at last ready to go turkey hunting. But now, this is Hovey Smith, reminding you to hunt what you eat and eat what you hunt. Be legal, be ethical, be safe. Goodbye, God bless, and see you next time.